Summer Olympics in a couple days. So also wanted to just warn you guys, next week, episodes might be light because I am going to Milan to cover the Olympics. I will be vlogging there, so I'll have a vlog for you guys, but I'm going to just make sure that I make the most out of that experience. I have never covered the Olympics before. I'm very excited about it. I'll be doing a lot of things while I'm there. So if there's any breaking news, I will make sure to update you guys from Italy, but otherwise, I'll probably just see you when I'm back. However, while I was in Los Angeles, there was some WNBA breaking news, so I just wanted to go over that quickly with you guys, and I apologize that I'm a few days late. Firstly, I want to talk about this team
She should have been there a long time ago. The snub wasn't quiet, it was loud, it was everywhere, and people did not forget. And now Caitlin Clark is finally on Team USA, and the reaction is exactly what you would expect: total chaos online. This is not just another roster move, this is a turning point. The moment fans have been pushing for, the moment the game itself needed. The debate is finished, Clark is in, and the impact is instant. We are talking about a surge in attention that could take this sport to a completely different level. The spotlight is on, and this debut is shaping up to be something you simply cannot ignore.
Guys, and I apologize that I'm a few days late. Firstly, I want to talk about this Team USA roster for the 2026 USA Women's World Cup qualifying team. Just so you guys know, I just want to make this clear. This is not an Olympic roster team. This is for World Cup, and this is also for the qualifiers for World Cup. So this is actually happening in March. Like, the qualifying games are in March, and we did get the schedule for that. So yeah, March 11th, March 12th, 14th, 15th, and 17th, and they will play. Is that Senegal? Is that right? I don't know what that flag is. I think it's possibly Senegal.
Now let's get one thing straight, because there is a lot of confusion out there. This is not the Olympic roster, this is something different, but no less important. Caitlin Clark is stepping onto the 2026 USA Women's World Cup qualifying team, and that matters more than people think. This is her first real shot to make a statement on the international stage, to show exactly why the hype exists and why it is justified. The energy around her is not tied to one tournament, it follows her everywhere, and in March she gets the chance to prove it in real time with the world watching closely.
Possibly Senegal, Puerto Rico, Italy, New Zealand, and Spain. This is also so ironic, you guys, because remember when I did that Caitlin Clark debate where it was like one Caitlin Clark fan versus 10 haters? That's going to be released around the time that they're doing these World Cup games. So that should just be so interesting. I just can't believe it was supposed to be released in January and it got pushed to March. So stay tuned for that, you guys. It's going to be smack dab in the middle when all of these players are playing, and I'm sure that it will definitely stir the pot. I'm kind of mad that it's not being released earlier than that, but anyway, this is the roster for those games. We have Aaliyah Boston, Paige.
This is not a slow rollout, this is a packed schedule that hits immediately. March 11th, 12th, 14th, 15th, and 17th, back-to-back high-pressure games against teams like Senegal, Puerto Rico, Italy, New Zealand, and Spain. Every single matchup matters, and there is no easing into it for Caitlin Clark. This is straight into the fire, fast pace, high expectations, and zero margin for mistakes. This is where chemistry gets tested and where stars either rise or get exposed.
For those games, we have Aaliyah Boston, Paige Beckers, Sonia Citron, Caitlin Clark, Kalia Copper, Chelsea Gray, Dearica Hamby, Ryan Howard, Kiki Riafend, Kelsey Plum, Angel Reese, and Jackie Young. And a lot of people were also asking, like, why isn't Nafisa on this roster? Why isn't Asia Wilson on this roster? Why isn't Sabrina, like some of the people who actually played in the Paris Olympics, on that team? And it's because it's World Cup. Not every player, not all of the top tier players play in every like world event. I can imagine that Asia will just not participate in World Cup. She doesn't have to. She probably will only participate when another Summer Olympics rolls around, like in.
And just when you think the spotlight couldn't get any brighter, here comes something else. A debate video featuring Caitlin Clark going head-to-head in a 1 versus 10 format is dropping right in the middle of all of this. The timing feels almost unreal, like it was designed to create maximum noise. Either it is a complete coincidence or it is a calculated move, but one thing is certain: it is going to spark conversations everywhere, and every performance she delivers will be dissected in real time.
The graphic that Team USA decided to use, because they have Ryan Howard, Chelsea Gray, and Aaliyah Boston on this, but obviously they didn't. I mean, the three biggest stars on this roster are Caitlin, Paige, and Angel. They didn't use any of them, which is fine. It is what it is. But obviously, I think people were saying like, oh, this graphic would have been shared a lot more if you put Caitlin Clark on there, or you put Angel Reese on there, or if you put Paige on there. Now, I also wanted to share with you guys the coaches for this Team USA team. So head coach is Kara Lawson. She is the head coach at Duke. And we actually had her on the show. I loved her interview. I love Kara Lawson. I've been watching her. Well, I was a fan of her when she played.
This roster tells a story, and it is a very clear one Team USA is blending proven stars with rising energy, and the names speak for themselves. Aaliyah Boston, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, Kalia Copper, Chelsea Gray, and Jackie Young all alongside Caitlin Clark. This is talent stacked on top of talent, and while that creates exciting lineups, it also creates pressure because minutes are not guaranteed and competition inside the team might be just as intense as the games themselves.
Not. Somebody's going to be mad. Somebody's going to be mad whether Chelsea Gray is starting or whether Caitlin Clark is starting. Somebody somewhere is going to be mad. That's just how the discourse is around this league. But I think it's a good roster. I think it's a good team. I think that they will be just fine in these World Cup qualifiers and also in World Cup. But it is really exciting to see players like Caitlin finally getting that Team USA nod because she should have been on the 2024 Olympic team. And lastly, you guys, really quick, we can talk about this CBA stuff. We don't really have any real updates. I'm just going to start there. Nothing is confirmed. We don't truly know anything new.
One thing that immediately stood out, and not in a good way, was the official graphic for this roster announcement. You have some of the biggest names in the sport: Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, and Angel Reese, and somehow none of them were front and center. That decision left people confused, because from a media standpoint, it felt like a missed opportunity to capitalize on the biggest draw the league has right now. The announcement still exploded, but it could have gone even bigger.
CBA stuff. We don't really have any real updates. I'm just going to start there. Nothing is confirmed. We don't truly know anything new. All we have is some quotes from some players. The last time I updated you guys, I told you that the WNBA did return to the players and counter their proposal. And we really haven't heard anything substantial. Like, we don't know if the players came back, if they're doing a counter proposal. Like, we just don't know. And at this point, I'm tired of it. I'm over it. I just want to see what happens. But there was an article that came out where a reporter interviewed some of the players that play for Athletes Unlimited, and they asked them about the WNBA CBA because, like we've talked about a million times, they're definitely varying.
This roster is built with a very specific identity. It is guard heavy, it is fast, and it is designed to push the pace. Players like Aaliyah Boston, Dearica Hamby, Kiki Iriafen, and Angel Reese bring presence inside, but the real focus is on speed, shooting, and versatility, and that plays directly into Caitlin Clark's strengths. This is a team that wants to run, stretch the floor, and overwhelm opponents before they even settle into the game.
Another player said, I feel like we're asking for a lot. I know we deserve it, but at the same time, it's kind of like we're kind of getting greedy. We're doing a lot of asking. I feel like we need to do a lot of doing. So that was kind of one of the answers that stood out because we haven't heard a player yet come out publicly and say, like, we're being greedy, we need to sign this deal. Another player said, I'm going to lean more towards the positive side, so I'm going to say an 8 because I know the amazing people that we have to support us, the women in the negotiating chairs. Somebody said full W season ? I feel pretty confident. Full ? I feel like a 9. And so the question was, sorry, I didn't even tell you the question. It said,
there is also the conversation that refuses to go away, and that is the absence of major names like Nafisa Collier-Wilson and Sabrina Ionescu, and at first glance it raises eyebrows because these are cornerstone players, but when you look deeper it starts to make sense. Top-tier athletes often make calculated decisions about where and when they compete, in events like World Cup qualifiers do not always take priority over the Olympics, which remains the biggest stage in the sport. Aya Wilson, for example, is widely expected to focus on the next Olympic cycle, preserving her body and maximizing longevity, and that strategy reflects how players are thinking long-term about their careers and their impact. Now, with those absences, the spotlight shifts even more onto this new generation led by Caitlin Clark, and that creates both opportunity and pressure because expectations do not drop, they actually increase. Now guiding all of this is head coach Kara Lawson, a name that carries serious weight. Not just because of her coaching role at Duke, but because of her experience as a former elite player. She understands the game from both sides, and that matters when you are trying to manage a roster filled with high-profile talent. Her ability to command respect while also building cohesion will be tested immediately, and she is not doing it alone. Her staff includes respected figures like Natalie Nakase, Nate Tibbetts, and Stephanie White, with support from Jose Fernandez and Tia Jackson handling scouting and preparation, and that level of coaching depth shows how seriously Team USA is approaching this run. But then comes the biggest debate of all, and that is the starting lineup, because no matter what decision gets made, someone is going to disagree. Many believe the future should be prioritized with Caitlin Clark at point guard, Paige Bueckers at the 2, Aaliyah Boston anchoring the middle, and Angel Reese at the 4, and on paper that lineup is explosive. It brings scoring, playmaking, and physicality all in one unit, but the moment you suggest that, you are also suggesting that veterans like Chelsea Gray could see reduced roles, and that is where things get complicated, because this league is built on respect, experience, and competitive pride, and shifting that balance is never simple. The reactions will be loud, the debates will be constant, and every decision will be magnified across social media and beyond. And while all of this excitement builds, there is another issue quietly hanging over everything, and that is the ongoing CBA negotiations, which remain unresolved with very little concrete information available, and that uncertainty is creating real concern among players and fans alike, because the possibility of a disrupted season is not something anyone wants to deal with. Anonymous player comments have already hinted at tension within the ranks, with some expressing doubt about a full season even happening, and others openly questioning whether demands have gone too far. And that kind of division makes negotiations even more difficult, because it shows that there is no single unified stance. Meanwhile, a player poll revealed average confidence sitting around 6.1 out of 10, which is not exactly reassuring, and voices like Breanna Stewart have tried to strike a balance, acknowledging progress from ownership, while also emphasizing the financial realities tied to missed games, because under the current model, fewer games directly mean less revenue for everyone involved, and that reality adds urgency to the situation, because this is no longer just about principles, it is about tangible outcomes and financial impact, and all of this is unfolding at the exact same time that Caitlin Clark is stepping into one of the biggest moments of her career, which creates a unique contrast between opportunity and uncertainty. On one hand, you have a player who is bringing unprecedented attention to the game, and on the other, you have a league still trying to stabilize its internal structure, and the way these two storylines intersect could define the next phase of women's basketball, because if everything aligns, the momentum could be massive, but if things fall apart, it could slow down what should be a breakthrough era for the sport. And that is why this moment feels bigger than just one roster or one tournament. It feels like a turning point where every decision matters and every outcome carries long-term consequences.